It is really an honor to come back and speak here for Professor Falla. He had this effect on me. He had that effect on pretty much anyone that you had the class for. He pushed you to be better and to chase that dream. Jack Falla's class was at 8 a.m. I did not miss one class. I did not show up late for one class. I had a passion for sports. I have a passion for sports. I had the utmost respect for him. And it was just a fun environment to be in. You could show up whether you want to be in sweats or ready for your next class or you're dressed up. But it was so important to me to not disappoint him and let him down by being late. And that passion that I had for getting there on time and getting there early and not missing a class is the same type of passion that I've taken into my career. Don't ever turn down an opportunity, because you never know what can happen. You never know who you can meet. You never know what may come of it. When you meet people, be courteous, be respectful, and always think about the next step. My first job was in Portland, Oregon, for the San Diego Padres AAA affiliate, the Portland Beavers. I made $500 a month. My rent was $465. I lost 15 pounds in 6 weeks, not even trying. I go to the grocery store, and I'd see Doritos. I'm like, ooh, $3. Do I really need them? No. But I loved it. I worked 54 straight days. I was going for DiMaggio's record, but I just came up short. And everyone's like, what you want a day off? No, I'm calling baseball games. I'm calling soccer games. Like, this is unbelievable. And I was making no money. Every single penny I kept track of. And every single month I came in within about $3. But it was the greatest experience I ever made. Greatest experience I ever had. And so I'm there for 11 months. And what do I do next? I go to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I first started in sports. I played ball my entire life. And I thought I'd be a pro athlete. Unfortunately, my parents aren't very tall, and neither am I. So my senior year in high school, I interned for a minor league baseball team, a startup minor league team. And my job when I first got there was to answer phones. Everyone's like, you're answering phones? Really? And I thought to myself, well, this is great. A, I can learn who everybody is in the office. B, I can learn on speaking to people and working on articulating my thoughts and enunciating my words. And I always thought, how can this help me be a better broadcaster in the future? And then I came to college and I had all these different internships, and one thing led to another. And I'm not going to lie to you. Part of it is luck. Part of it's timing, being at the right place at the right time. But when you're at that right place, you got to make sure you take advantage of that opportunity. And fortunately for me, I got some opportunities. I got an internship with Nesson.com when I first started here in college. That led to an internship at Sports Fan Radio Network. They had me go and do feature stories once a week at Yankee Stadium or Shea Stadium. I'm 19 years old, and I'm thinking to myself, are you serious? I get to interview Derek Jeter? I get to interview Gabe Kapler, do a story on him? Oh my God, I'm living the dream. And our NBA beat writer left, going to my sophomore year in college. So I told our guys, I'm like, hey guys, if you want, if you get me a credential, I'll cover the NBA from the Fleet Center. I know it's Nelly Garden, but I'll cover from the Fleet Center. So they got me credentials. And I would go to the Fleet Center once, twice a week when I was a sophomore in college. I'd write stories. I can remember meeting Kevin Garnett for the first time. And I go to shake his hand. I'm like, I don't know where my hand is. And it was an incredible experience. My stories would get picked up on AOL or what have you. And I thought, all right, we're making something. And I'm at the game one night, and I'm sitting next to a reporter for the New York Knicks, who I knew from growing up, just from seeing her on TV. She asked me if I had an internship for the summer. I said, no, not yet. So she got me an internship at MSG Network. So now I'm at Yankee Stadium, Shea Stadium, pretty much every day during the summertime. I meet Tim McCarver. McCarver says to me, when I want to thank him for my last day, he goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "Well, I still have 2 years of college left." He goes, "Well, we still have a third of the season left." I'm like, "If you want to give me a job right now, I'll leave, but otherwise I got to go back to school." He asked where I went. I said I went to BU. He's like, "Oh, great. Well, when we're up in Boston, do you want to come and work with us?" "I'd love to." He said, "How about the Fox National Game of the Week? You want to work with us there?" "Yeah." He's like, "Call me at the hotel. We'll set it up." So I'm like, all right. Call him at the hotel. Set it all up. Go to the game. Joe Buck has a stat guy. I help the stat guy out. He asked me after the game, "Hey, what are you doing for the playoffs?" "I don't know, school." He said, "Give me a call." Did research for him. I told my dad, I said, "Dad, if it's a Yankees-Mets series, I'm coming home." And he goes, "Just, if it's a Subway series, I'll let you come home." As soon as David Justice went yard, I'm like, "I'm coming home!" Called McCarver. He said, "Oh yeah, we got room for you." So for all 5 games, I asked Professor Falla, I said, "Professor Falla, I can go and work the World Series, but I'm going to miss a week of school." He said, "Go." Never hesitation. I had a paper to write for him. He said, "Get it to me when you get back." Fortunately, the Yankees won in 5 games, so I had the weekend to recover and write my paper, and I was able to get that one in. But once I started working with those guys, it turned into other things. And whatever they wanted, I would do. I would get to the ballpark early. I would help out in the truck. They'd say, "Hey, can you go pick up the announcers?" "Yep, absolutely." Why? Because to me, that meant I would pick up the announcers at the hotel, drive them to the stadium. That means I get 30 minutes in the car with them every Saturday. Just me and them. And I'm not going to annoy them and pester them with questions, but they get to know who I am. And I'm like, this is a no-brainer, and I can listen to their conversations and find out how they prepare for a broadcast. Well, that pays off, because all of a sudden, Joe Buck starts doing the intro for my resume reel. And it's, to this day, one of the coolest things I have. I mean, I can tell, he said, "This is Joe Buck. I've had the privilege of working with Justin Kutcher year after year during the postseason. He could not have been a bigger help. With that being said, it is I who introduce to you the broadcast stylings of Justin Kutcher." I still listen to it today, just for fun. He goes, "We had a guy 3 years ago, Justin Kutcher, who was a runner for us at Yankee Stadium." He goes, "Now he's doing major college basketball on ESPN. And Costas goes, "Wow." Well, you can imagine my reaction when I heard this. I was sitting in my apartment listening to it on iTunes, and I mean, goosebumps, tears in my eyes. I hadn't spoken to Joe in 4 years, and he's saying this. And I called my parents. I was like, "Listen to this." They're like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Can you believe that? Like, these are like my 2 heroes doing this." And I sent Joe an email just to say thank you, like I really appreciate it. And he wrote back to me, he's like, "My pleasure. We really appreciate all the work you did for us all those years. I'm really proud of you." To hear him say that, that made everything worthwhile. To hear my parents say, "I'm proud of you." Nobody wants you to pursue this. Nobody wanted me to pursue it because you're basically starving. And it goes back to what Professor Falla would teach you and why he wanted you in there at 8 a.m. Because if you don't have that passion, get out now. You work every night, every holiday, every weekend. It can take its toll on you. But if you have that passion and you want to reach for it, you want to get to that certain level, man, there's nothing better. People have asked me what's the coolest part of your job. Besides the fact that I get to watch sports, it's the fact that I get to call these people that I grew up watching my friends. You know, I get a phone call from Danny Cannell last year. "Hey, you in town? Let's go play golf." I'm like, "Okay." My dad's like, "So who are you playing golf with?" "Danny Cannell." Like, the Giants quarterback, Danny Cannell? Yeah, I'm like, this is my life now. Well, Professor Falla would tell us stories in class. He's like, "Yeah, so one day I do the story for SI and I get to skate with the Edmonton Oilers. So, you know, Wayne and I are on a 2-on-0 break." I'm like, "Wayne?" He's like, "Gretzky." Oh, yeah, sure, Wayne Gretzky, of course, we all first name basis with him. But that's what it was, and I was like, man, can you imagine like being on a first name basis with Wayne Gretzky? Can you imagine? I mean, for me, Duke, I wasn't a big Duke fan, but Jason Williams, the point guard for Duke, like, Jay's one of my boys now. I'm like, what is going on? It is awesome to be able to say that, you know, you're following a dream and realizing you're doing now what he was able to do, Professor Falla, for all those years. And I mean, if I can touch a life the way he's touched so many lives, it would be incredible. You kind of forget how lucky you are sometimes because you get caught up and, okay, what game am I doing? What's next? Let me do this, let me do that. When you kind of step back and realize like what you're doing, it's pretty neat. It's a great thing that that I get to live out a dream every day, and when you step back and think about it, that's when you start to get emotional. But it all comes down to that passion. If you don't have it, don't go for it. If you have it, don't let anybody stop you. And if you want to lose 15 pounds in 6 weeks, not even trying, make $500 a month with your rent being $465. It is an incredible diet. I could tell you guys a couple of just fun stories, and then I'll open it up for some questions. But for me, I said to you that nobody wanted me to go into this. My parents all the time would say to me, just like, why don't you go back to be a teacher, be a coach? No, I can do that whenever I want. Well, I started finally getting on TV, and I had goals set for myself, and one day, I'm with my mom, and someone's like, so what's Justin doing? She goes, oh, well, he's trying to be a sports broadcaster. And I was like, no, Mom, I am a sports broadcaster. She goes, no, I know, Justin. I'm like, no, Mom, really, I'm a sports broadcaster. It's okay, Justin. So all of a sudden, I do a UConn men's basketball game, like that winter. And my family's from Connecticut. And so at UConn men's basketball, everybody's watching. All of a sudden, my mom starts getting all these phone calls. Oh my God, I'm watching Justin on TV. Oh my God, Justin doing the game. After that, what's Justin doing? Oh, he's a sports broadcaster. Like, really? So all it took was for me to call one UConn men's basketball game, and that was that. And I tell her that story all the time. She's like, no, Just, I always believed you were a sports broadcaster. I just wanted to downplay it. I'm like, thanks. And somebody asked me before, do I ever get sick of sports? No. No, it is my life. I consider it an honor to be doing what I'm doing. I feel very fortunate, and I hope I'm doing it for the next 35 years, at least, because that would be pretty cool. But thank you very much for coming today.